What if Return by Death was basically a gacha, funny meme of an ability, and a show that tries its best to take itself seriously, but the MC Yogiri refuses to allow that to happen? That's basically my instant death ability and this one character, because the real brokenness is, of course, Yogiri. Nothing can stop him. Everything will die if it comes near him. He's broken. He's indestructible. Nothing can touch him. And then he just casually stumbles upon different plot lines. And this one character who we get introduced to last week, he's basically, you can already tell that he would be bankrupt in the real world. He would be maxing his credit card out for gacha rolls. And the idea that the more unlucky he is, the bigger of a reward of crystals he'll get by the end of the day. So being shot by a giant crossbow into a wall, that's just an unlucky point that will boost his skill set in the future. And he just continues to lose arms, and what should kill him over and over, he just begs you to give him his crystal. And then the fact that when he rolls like all of his crystals, he's thinking, oh man, here we go, I got some great reward coming. And honestly, I thought he rolled the most holy of rewards, this beautiful goddess falling into his lap. And she's like, no, I'm just here to check in on how you're doing. Passes out dead on his bed, and I don't think he got jack shit. I can't tell if this man's the luckiest or unluckiest character, because on one hand, he apparently can avoid all sorts of death, but on the other hand, his rewards are basically a toothbrush and a useless goddess. So it's like, is that really a reward? You tell me. I have a full live reaction this week's My Instant Death ability over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full in-depth thoughts, they're over there if you're interested. While we didn't get the confirmation if my thought process last week was correct, I think it's all but guaranteed given how they scooted the hell out of there. I'm pretty sure our boy skipped the cutscene, and yeah, the final boss of this world is just dead and no one realizes it. And the fact that he continues to like refuse to accept plot points, there is dozens upon dozens of characters who are legit serious, are saying this is a real world, these are my stories. Even if characters are saying they're treating it as a game, like to them they're still taking shit seriously. And our boy's basically speedrunning this video game with no interest. Like, he's looking at this as a trash video game. He's feeling like Sunraku from Shangri-La Frontier, except unlike Sunraku, he doesn't get any thrill by playing these shit video games. He's just forced to do so. A dude who made these elaborate traps and riddles that probably are designed to take you weeks, if not months, to complete, he just kills everything. Because he can. Everything's alive if he wants it to be. If anything tries to touch him, it will just cease to exist. The fact that traps and puzzles just stop happening, and he tells our girl near the start of this episode, I'm at the point now that anything that tries to hurt us, I'm killing. There's no more playtime. And she's kind of like, well, hasn't that always been the case? But no. In honestly Yogiri's defense, he actually has been pretty restrictive. Like, he's always tried to talk to people, and he's tried to bargain, and it wasn't until swords were close to his throat that he'd be like, okay, die. And honestly, we see what he means in terms of difference, because that dude is like, he's like, listen, I just want to pass. I have no interest. No, you can't pass. Well, you're gonna die. Stumbles in a competition room because it's like all about getting these points. There's these 3 girls working for some dude who's playing this as a video game. I was really hoping the bunny girl got to stick around. I felt like her plot had a lot to offer, if you catch my drift. Okay, you're not letting me pass. Okay, all 3 of them are gonna die. Later, bro. Oh, you're gonna try to jump me? You die too. Just the fact that it's so shameless with how much he doesn't give a shit. Like, he's the most unapologetically, this means nothing to me. And the fact that it's so funny because of that, because there's legit stories attempting to be told here, and the only stories that get to continue are the most interesting of side quests, because that's basically what's happening. The main quest has already been completed without anyone realizing it. That demon lord or whatever's going on in that whole freezing realm area, that shit's dead, and he's just gonna rise to be the true final boss for this world without anyone realizing it. All these individual side characters trying to have their stories go on, they either are dead or they're forgotten, because, I mean, whatever they're preparing for has already been accomplished, so they're just wasting their life. And the girl at the very end of the episode, she's the rare case of like, okay, I guess we can help her and listen to her because she's an interesting enough NPC. It's like, I love that. I love the fact that for such an inhuman character, because that's really what Yogiri is, he feels like a demon. He feels like he's pure logic. And I think these are the types of characters that really fascinate me, because whether it's a more comedy direction like a My Instant Death ability, or a Cube from Madoka Magica, where what it says is pure logic, if you remove emotion, like what they're saying has a logical reason of why they just don't give a shit about emotions, but there's an end result that makes sense. A character like Yogiri, he's just all like, if they try to kill me, I'm gonna kill them. And it's like, a human would naturally feel remorse. Even if someone's trying to attempt to hurt you, you would still feel dirty and guilty. But this boy doesn't feel human. He feels like a robot, but then they sprinkle in these slight elements of humanity, like the fact that he has a pastime. He loves playing video games. Doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but he does have passion. He's not just someone walking the halls killing for fun. He does enjoy certain things, and he's bored by this whole world, not wanting to be here. Makes sense, it's just the execution of how he does things is, well, a little intense. And then the fact that he is legitimately showing signs of affection for our girl, who he's actually legitimately seemingly falling for, going from just like the, oh, he's interested in for the physical things to maybe potentially actually liking her. It's a pretty human emotion, and when you consider his flashback with his mother figure, you know, there's a couple of connections that actually feel legit for him, even in a world that makes him feel so exhausted by the nonsense. The way they so seamlessly blend this, like, very comedy parody direction of the isekai formula with a One Punch Man twist, while having, like, not crazy character writing. I'm not trying to say he's like this masterpiece of a written character. His ability is. I'll say that. The way the author went about his ability, that should be masterpiece level writing for how broken it is. But his actual character is just fun, but they give you enough to make it feel like, oh, he's not just like, die, die, die because he can. He's doing it because people just keep trying to kill him. And even if his lack of emotion, which a normal human would have, even if people were trying to attempt to end his life, isn't there, that's part of the mystery of where he came from. Like, this boy was in a vault, in a world within a world. We don't know if he was a test tube baby, if he's the Demon Lord's son. There's a lot we don't know about him, but at least he's showing some signs of humanity in the sea of mass murder. But honestly, you know how sometimes, like, there'll be fandoms where they'll keep track of body counts, like how many people have died or how many of this or that? I really hope someone's keeping track, because our boy's killed dozens, and I feel like we're over 50 at this point. I could be mistaken, but you know, just with the amount of dragons and things that have attempted, like, if it's just humans, maybe only a couple of dozen, but with everything he has ended, and we have to consider the fact that things that are dying, like the barriers or stuff, that also counts. Like, what is his death total? Because anything he wants to die becomes alive and dies. I don't know. But what we dealt with this episode was a man who's basically with one hand eating a slice of pizza, with the other hand looking at his phone, and I guess with his big toe using the controller and speedrunning a video game he has no interest playing, while there's a wannabe Return by Death Subaru who's wasting his life and money and time for a goddess who seems completely fucking useless. This is a fantastic show and I want more. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode of My Instant Death Ability down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around. Of course, ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we have that full live reaction over on my Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we have Brett Jones, Byrne, IC Cicero, Michael Meadows, Watson, and Byron. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.